I've been selling pottery for 7 years now, and the best time for my business is always late November / early December. So I always plan a big collection launch for around this time. So today I'm going to show you what that process is like and also give you my tips along the way. And I would also like to thank Milanote for sponsoring this video. It's 1 week until my shop update, so I have one more kiln to unload. And I'm really excited to show you guys what I made. Look how cute they are. So I decided to make more face mugs after making the stool. I was just so inspired by that. And you guys seem to like them as well. So I made a bunch of these. I've got a bunch of student work in here, but I also have just a few classic shapes. The blue turned out really nicely on this one. You never know with the blue, but it turned out really nicely on these guys. So my first tip for you is to give yourself plenty of time and get organized. So what I like to do is set a date for my web shop opening and then sort of work back from there. And for getting organized, I personally really like to use Milanote, who is kindly sponsoring this video. Milanote is a tool for organizing your creative projects. Now, this tool is really cool for brainstorming and planning. Like, you can do so many things, but I've used it here to make sort of like a calendar, countdown, to-do list thing. So I've planned out the dates for my final firing and the dates for my photo shoot, when I edit the photos, when I update my web shop, and organizing all my marketing. Basically, anything I need to do, I take out of my brain and I put onto this board. The most interesting board I think for you is the photo shoot board, where I've collected a bunch of different inspo pictures on the types of photos I would like to make. So I really want to work with directional light, use my hands for scale. I also love a tone-on-tone look. And it's always nice to have more general photos for marketing and such, so things that might not work for the first page of a product listing, but it will be really nice for social media or like the second or third photo of the product listing. Anyway, I find it really helpful to spend some time figuring out how I want my photos to look like. So this collage feature is just really perfect for that. And they even have a web clipper tool. That means you don't even have to screenshot, but you can actually paste images directly from the web. The rest of my planning is basically checklists, because I really find that it's hard for me to remember every little thing to do in the moment. So like taking a step back and getting an overview on a tool like Milanote is really helpful. And if you're not sure where to begin, Milanote also offers more than 100 built-in templates for a variety of different creative projects to help you get started. Milanote is available for free with absolutely no time limit, so sign up using the link in my video description and start your next creative project. Hello friends, it's the next day. So we have our pottery finished, we have the dates set. Now it's time to do a photo shoot. So I've got all of my pots over here. Can you see them? This is at least representative of what I have. As you know, I've got a lot more of those planters. I'm just gonna photograph a few smaller groups of them. So this is how I usually take pictures. I've got my big window here. When possible, I really prefer to use natural light, mostly because in order to set things up with artificial light and make them look natural is very hard. And I'm not good at it. I'm by no means a pottery expert, but I've been doing product photography for a while. So if you want to go deeper into photographing pottery, I would really recommend you look up videos on product photography specifically. I mean, there's loads of information online, and that's pretty much where I've learned everything. So you want to show like the different sides of the cup. You need to include practical things that shoppers look for. And then if it makes sense, you could show the piece in action. Really wish I had a seedling that I could put in here. That would be ideal, as if I had like a little plant that I could add, but I don't. So the other thing I recommend is to show scale. So you'll see me using a brick here. Something else I really like to use is my hands. Not only does adding the hands add this like element of dynamicism. Not only does using something alive like hands add an element of dynamism to your photos, it also really helps to show the scale, and it helps the customer sort of envision how it would feel in their hands. Another thing that I like to think about is dynamic lines. So I'll often use my table, but kind of shoot it at an angle. This is like a compositional law or whatever. That just means that when you have these kind of diagonals, when you have things cutting up the screen, it sort of makes it more exciting. Another tip that I got from a friend of mine is that, like, if you're not needing your body physically in the photo, like, you know, if you're using your hands or something, don't use a tripod. This opens up a lot more opportunity when you don't limit yourself to a static image, because you can kind of get all these minor differences in angle that really make a photo come alive. You're just a lot more flexible, and yeah, a tripod is obviously necessary if you're going to be in the picture, but you know, if you don't need it, don't use it. That's my advice. I do have one artificial light that I use, but it's very low. I just will add this on cloudy days when it's not quite enough light in the studio, and I'll just like aim it at the walls just to fill out the studio a little bit more. So I've got this camera linked through my phone here. So what I can do, it's like an app that connects to the camera, so I can control it basically. And I can look through this viewfinder, because this viewfinder is a little bit bigger. I can see it a little bit better than that one. And then, yeah, one last little tip here, you know, when you're selling things online, you have to keep in mind that you're selling the photo. You're not selling the product. It's kind of this abstract idea that you're selling. You're selling the idea of the product, because the customer doesn't have the product in their hands. They don't really know what the product is in 3 dimensions. So you need to inform the customer, you know, in the best light, what this piece is by, you know, taking a great photo and conveying the photo honestly. Moral of this little photography tutorial here is just play around. Like, you have to just take the time, set aside, you know, an hour or two. If you're using natural light, you need to move your body. If you're using artificial light, you just move the light source, but just playing around with different things, play around with the composition for sure. I think my photos are okay. They could be better, but everything I've learned about cameras is against my will. The other thing that I do is I make sure I take inventory. So the reason I do this while I'm photo shooting is because everything's out on the table. Like, I have kind of an overview of everything before I tuck it back away on the shelves. So always when I'm doing inventory, I do the name of the piece, the quantity of pieces. So it's less important for quantity if you have like these guys, they're different enough that I'm not going to list them under the same listing. I want people to say, okay, I want this specific one. I don't want any surprises when people pick them up. But with something like these pots, I'm just going to have one listing for the 20 or so pots that I have, because they're close enough. They're very similar. Name, quantity, color, dimensions, because you definitely need to include the dimensions in the product listing. The weight for shipping, if you have, you know, tiered shipping, like I have tiered shippings, because I want my customers to pay the actual shipping costs, not like approximate shipping costs. So I put the extra work in and calculate the weight and, you know, set it up on my website. You can also do tiers, it's totally fine. And then the price, because while it's in your hand is a lot better of a time to figure out your prices versus when you're sitting later at the computer trying to get the listings up. So that's what I include in my inventory. Good morning. I've had a very busy last couple of days, so I haven't actually worked on my shop update in almost a week, and it's tomorrow. So I have to actually finish now. Also happening today, the sun is finally coming out, so I don't know how this whole filming thing is gonna go. What I need to do still, I need to edit down all of these photos. First, I just need to like narrow it down. Yeah, there's like 1,000 different versions of basically the same thing. So I need to filter my photos first. I need to edit them. And then I'm going to do my marketing. And then lastly, if I have time, I'm going to do my listings. What I could do is I could just do my listings in the morning, because that doesn't take very long. But the marketing needs to get done today because I need to actually start promoting. Yeah, so I'm just going to blast through, get these edits done as quickly as possible, and then we can move on to marketing. Okay, let me just give you an example of like what I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm trying to choose between this image and this image. So I'll like flick back and forth until I can't see straight anymore and try and figure out what is a nicer image. It's psychotic, but that's what I do. So in just about 7 minutes, I narrowed it down from 1,113 photos to 60 photos. And now I have one of each kind of photo. And then I'll throw them all into Photoshop and start tweaking them. So the point of Photoshop is not to like make them look different or cooler than the pictures are. Sorry, the sun. The point of Photoshop is to basically correct the images. Basically, you're trying to make the picture as close to the real object as possible, but in the best light possible, if that makes sense. You want to choose the nicest looking picture, but you also want the picture to be accurate. So basically all I do is I'll do color correct, mess with the lighting to make sure that the contrast is nice, you know, so that there's a full spectrum of darks and lights, and then I'll crop. This is all I do on Photoshop. Super easy, super basic. So I've been messing with this for a little while. All my editing is done now. And I was trying to figure out what kind of marketing I want to do because it's kind of an unusual shop update. I don't have a ton of stuff, number one. I just did a big launch literally last week. The timing was not ideal on my part. The planning was not ideal. I just launched the paper templates last week and I feel a little weird about like promoting making a really big deal about two launches right after each other. So I decided I'm going to make sort of like a low-key launch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one Instagram carousel and then I'll have a reel go live when the shop goes up. So I made a reel. I think it's pretty cute. I don't know how well you can see that, but you can see it on my Instagram. That's done. And then I'm just going to do the other stuff that I mentioned. So I'll do a little mention on my YouTube community board, post everything on Pinterest, send out a newsletter. You guys have been looking at me on the computer for long enough, so I'm going to do the shop listing off camera and I'll get back to you tomorrow when we do the launch. We have 5 minutes to launch. I've got my little checklist here. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous. So what I need to do, activate the listing, post the reel, and send out my newsletter. Okay, we got a few minutes, so I'd like to make some predictions about what is going to sell. So a lot of these have already sold already because I actually put them on. My time, it was just a few days ago. Your time, it's last week because these were the reclaim planters. If you didn't watch that video, I think these guys are going to be the winner of this sale. These guys, they're just so freaking cute. I think they're perfect. I wouldn't change a dang thing about them. These, by the way, are also made with reclaim. Ooh, we have 1 minute. Okay, we have to go. Okay, it's exactly 12 now. Why is my internet being slow? Right now? Okay. Let me show you what I'm doing. Public. Okay. Cute. Hello. Peanut has come to join us. Just needed a little reassurances. So I need to make the Instagram now. The reel is live. Okay, let me just send out my newsletter. Okay, so we have our first sale. Abby got 2 of these, which is so nice. Thank you, Abby. I'm so happy that you like them. If you were expecting a video where I sell out my products really, really quickly, this is not me. Ooh, another sale. Brianna got a white one. Thank you, Brianna. Yeah, so I mean, I sell, but this is not, I'm definitely more known for my videos here on YouTube than I am for selling pottery. So I don't actually sell that much pottery. It's not a huge part of my business, but it feels like so core to my identity to like make pottery for sale, because like I'm a potter and I've only just been doing this YouTube thing for like 3 years or so. All the time before that, since I really started selling pottery seriously in 2017. This has been my business, is making and selling pottery. So I personally really love doing both. I think it's really fun to kind of juggle the two. And like sometimes I get a little overwhelmed by doing both, but I kind of feel like they kind of balance each other out, because I need to be like a practicing potter in order to be authentically making videos on the internet about being a potter, I think. But I'm also the kind of person who gets bored so easily making the same thing over and over again. So I really love having this YouTube channel because it allows me to just experiment, just play around. And that's actually what I love doing the most. Like when I produce pottery, I don't often produce such big collections like that planter's collection. I often produce the smaller collections like those face mugs where it's like 10 pieces, simply because I get bored and I don't want to sit in the studio for 2 days attaching noses. You know, that's not fun to me. So I feel super lucky and oh, there's Al. I feel super lucky and blessed to have both in my life. And I really want to thank you for watching this video, because it enables me to kind of have both. In my mind, it's like the best of both worlds. So yeah, cool. So that was the product launch, and that's kind of the process I go through to sell pottery. I hope that this video was interesting and fun for you to watch. It certainly was fun for me to bring you along. Yeah, that's it for me today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends. See? Want to show them your tricks? Huh? Oh, good girl. Down. Oh, good girl. Up, up. Good girl.